or challenges have you experienced in your work to improve the digital resilience? Sorry? You can't hear. I was saying, what obstacles or challenges have you experienced in your work to improve the digital resilience of the communities that you have supported? You've mentioned that you work with women human rights defenders, minorities. So I'm sure in your work as DigiSec initiative, you have collaborated with other initiatives.
To 2020, when we actually started to experience COVID around the world. In my country, Uganda particularly, we had one of the strictest lockdowns. Actually, we had total lockdown at some points in the country, whereby even movement was kind of restricted. Holding gatherings like this was restricted, and most people, including those in the grassroots communities, were kind of forced to adopt to using digital platforms to continue doing their work. Now, that's where the challenges actually started from, because most of these communities already have challenges that they face, especially with issues to do with connectivity, with issues to do with lack of the different tools needed to actually adopt these platforms. And so when I started working with these communities in 2020, where I would actually travel around the country to actually find them in their locations so that they don't have to travel, because it was actually mostly restricted, I realized one thing, that most of these communities are actually under-supported. Okay. You find that they are working for the benefit of their communities, but they do not have some of the tools to enable that. For example, you find they don't have like gadgets that they can use, they don't have access to electricity, they don't have access to internet, and yet these were some of the platforms that people were using during the COVID period to actually continue doing their work. So you find some of those challenges as things that can actually hinder them from doing their work. And then also you find that they are based in remote areas, like they are not easily accessible. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I picked a motorcycle as a mode of transport, because at least for it you can maneuver and you get your way to a particular area, even if the roads are not that good. But also I want to talk about the Level Up project, which we actually implemented. Level Up was a project by CIPESA, which actually involved working remotely with different consultants around the continent. I think we were having consultants from about 4 to 5 countries, and now they had to support organizations other than those in their own countries remotely. So you see where the challenge comes in, that we were not having physical engagement and interaction with these communities, and yet when we talk about digital kind of support, you find that some of the things you need to be physically together with an individual so that you can actually support them. When you're doing it remotely, it becomes challenging. And I believe all my other speakers have experienced similar challenges as they will share, but please feel free to ask any more questions. I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Gole. Maybe to add on to your your submission, did you during the Level project, what were there any benefits you saw of working with consultants? Did it make it easier for you? Were there any challenges? This goes to you, Gole. Yeah, you mentioned the Level Up project. So I understand the Level Up project was involved pooling the resources of different consultants in the East African region. So again, apart from connectivity, were there any specific trends that you realized that maybe it was a benefit for working with the different consultants, the different skills that they had?
Thank you very much, Brian. Actually, during the Level Up project, remember we had different consultants. We had about 19 consultants who work in digital security and digital rights. So all these consultants actually had different levels of skill sets. Like, well, they are good at one thing, but they're actually better at something else. So we were able to selectively pair them up with other consultants in a country other than their own, and they were able to leverage that kind of knowledge share with each other to actually accomplish some of the tasks that we gave them. One of the tasks I remember was to help organizations create digital security policies or IT policies. And this actually involved pairing those who have experience developing such policies before, because not all the consultants actually had that experience. Then also we had sessions where they had to train the organizations on how to use platforms like Facebook safely, and how to, for example, to report cases of gender-based violence online. So you find not all the consultants actually had that knowledge, but how we paired them up, it was able for them to share this knowledge within each other and actually get the task accomplished. Then also, I remember one of the challenges we faced doing this was the fact that many of these consultants are already doing other things, but trying to get them to get the tasks done was kind of a bit challenging. The project was quite long. I think it took more than 6 months. And at the end of it all, we were able to find workarounds and get the task completed. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Thank you, Gole. Maybe the next question I will ask Doreen here to give us her experience working with Access Now. What challenges do you face supporting communities, and how have collaborative action working with other digital security experts within the region? Because you have a wider footprint as Access Now, and how has that helped, or how do you see that it will benefit building the resilience of communities?
Okay, thank you. With Access Now, we receive a lot of cases where we have to provide either reactionary or preventative measures. So with some of the preventative work that we do, we find that there is a need to understand the context in which we are working. Therefore, there is a need to partner a lot with grassroots organizations who can offer the kind of help that the people who reach out to us need. So we find that sometimes we may not be able to provide help that would be useful to people of a particular region, but when you partner with other organizations, you're able to have an impact and provide support in a way that they can understand, especially in a language that they are familiar with, so that you can maintain that familiarity. And also, especially when you partner with these organizations, you get to create resilience. Therefore, they don't have to come back to us every time. We empower them and give them the necessary tools as well as necessary knowledge, so that they can maintain, the required level of digital literacy. Another challenge that we do face is in some regions, especially remote regions that we receive cases from, there is very little literacy, and therefore digital literacy is a whole other problem. Therefore, we run campaigns to raise awareness and be able to advocate for them in a way that can have lasting impact. So we are very big on partnerships, especially to gain coverage in the areas where we don't have coverage, especially with, for example, with working in the Southern African region or the East African region, or even the West African region, we have partners like CC Hub that we reach out to, and other partners that help us have, a longer lasting reach, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you again, maybe Tawanda. I wonder what your experience working from Zimbabwe, if you've had opportunities to, like, Goli, I don't know if you have a bike,
No, I do not have a bike. But Gole, okay. I think, yes, I think what Gole and Doreen have mentioned, primarily one of the challenges that we all face, I think, when we're providing the issues of digital security or protection to organizations and individuals. But I think one of the main challenges that most of us we tend to ignore is actually the lack or the few number of resources that can actually be assisting these organizations like on the ground. So you find that DSA is now like on a hype, to be building capacity within Southern Africa. Currently, we are working in 6 countries where we are building a team of professionals and resources, that can actually be assisting activists, human rights defenders, and LGBTIQ, and the rest of the other groups in terms of their digital like security. I think we also found out that sometimes we are reached out and people are asking us to assist them in terms of like digital security, but you then face that it is actually a digital literacy issue. So we have also been able to customize, some of our material to go down to the granular, to actually train people on how to be using these devices, then add, the part of security. But we also found value in terms of doing a gendered approach to most of the things, because I also think that digital safety is not a one-size-fits-all. It needs to be gendered. It needs to be customized based on a specific need and a specific like group set. DSA, I think we have put value in that, and we've invested our time in making sure that all our trainings are not just checkbox exercises, but they're really impactful, customized, and something that we do like follow up. But lastly, I think we also found it hard to be coordinating the vast number of requests that we have, and we are slowly building our helpline, which is still a private one, only provided to the people that we've actually built a trust and like network with. But I'm really excited when I'm hearing some of the insights that my colleagues are sharing. It simply means that we are one Africa, same problems, and I would want us to now increase the most more collaboration. I think today also I'm wearing a pink t-shirt from the Safe Sisters like project. It's something that I'm proud of, by proxy, because I've seen how the network has grown of gendered approach in terms of like digital security. So I'll end there and maybe I'll pass the mic to Happy.
Okay, thank you. When they pass the mic to you like this, after people have spoken too much, you just have a few things to add. So I just want to add a few maybe challenges as I faced as myself as I was running some of the trainings. I do work with Andrew Gole. Yes, I meant Gole. So there are a couple of trainings that we have held, and most times they are really in the grassroots. And one of the things that I saw was a big challenge is power outages. Sometimes you're holding a training and all of a sudden power just goes. And as if that is not enough, maybe because you're in an hotel and even their generator is not working. So you realize that the time you have scheduled for the training is not only enough, but again, at the same time, you do waste a lot of time and you're not able to really accomplish what you wanted to. And also, maybe the other thing I can add is that I just see generally the people that we do train, there's just general lack of computer knowledge. you will find that as you are hoping that somebody already knows a tool and maybe you're just going to train them how to use that tool, only to be surprised that that person actually doesn't even know how to switch on their computer, how to do this and that. And so I think as we are planning on advancing all these, some of these challenges are still there that I think as collaboratively, I believe we can work around these things, and somehow it will make the training easier. And then also maybe what I would like to bring to our understanding is that there is this bit of people think that IT things are just for the experts or the IT people, and because of that you realize that even the smallest thing that is disturbing you on your computer or on your phone that you could actually troubleshoot, you're not able to, because your mind says no, this is the IT guy who has to do it, and yet they will just do something simple. So I think we need to embrace the fact that all of us are using tools and all of us are going to that space, the digital space, and we need to embrace that culture as well. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Happy. One thing I noticed that everyone has mentioned is digital literacy. And in my experience, Tawanda, you mentioned DSA, and I know that's Digital Society of Africa. In Uganda, we have what we call the Digital Security Alliance, which we also call the DSA. And one of the reasons why we came up with the Digital Security Alliance is that we realized we do not have as many, let me call them ICT experts, to provide adequate support to all the organizations or the community members or activists or journalists that are across the country. So what we did was come up, develop a voluntary collaborative mechanism where different ICT experts from different organizations would come together and be able to pool resources to be able to provide support to the different, to the community or the human rights defenders that were out there. But also, like you, one of the biggest challenges that we have experienced was digital literacy. Many users of the devices that right now, the technology that is available, have just leapfrogged from not using, from a feature phone, and now are into having to use a smartphone, and they do not know the vulnerabilities or the risks that they're exposing themselves to. And I like the way Happy has put it, that some people do not know how to turn off, turn on. If they do not know how to turn on or turn off a computer, how are they going to be able to navigate the risks or challenges that they see or face online? Yeah, Tawanda?
Sorry, just to add like on that, I think one thing that we also try to do at the Digital Society of Africa is, if you see the people that we actually train to become trainers, they also don't have a hardcore like technical background. You know, I'll give you examples. We've got lawyers as digital security trainers now. We've got social justice like practitioners being like digital security like trainers. So I think I'm just trying to echo the sentiments that like Happy mentioned, you know, to say that anyone can actually be a digital security trainer if they're really invested and they believe in the like purpose itself. Not everyone, we should normalize that you become the first line of defense for your own digital like presence. Then, if need be, you then extend after you've actually done a diagnosis or an assessment of your own device. So that's actually the mantra that we are using at DSA, where we're saying everyone should be able to do the basics. And we have proven it. We are building a network of non-technical people in terms of background, but they've now become champions in the area simply because they believe in the movement and they understand, you know, the risks, you know, that are being faced by people. And now they are the same resources that we're now going to be using within the helpline that we have. I just wanted that to echo that sentiment. Thanks.
Thank you again. That's a very good point. What again, similarly, what we did in Uganda was come up with a curriculum that we made available online. That again, same echo the same sentiments that you're making, where we do not have people that have that much expertise or ICT expertise. So we are using anyone or that is available that has the passion to be able to spread the digital security gospel, so to say. So maybe this takes me to my next question, is that how can we leverage this Internet Freedom Africa community to be able to continue building on the digital resilience that we have already started working on? I don't know, anyone, Gole, you are on a road trip from Uganda to Zambia. Maybe along the way, I'm sure you interacted with different communities. I was wondering, like I just asked, how do we, and all of this was coming to the Internet Freedom, Forum for Internet Freedom of Africa. And how do you think your road trip, what message did it carry, or what message were you pushing, and how can we leverage what you did and your presence here to be able to build on our efforts as working collaboratively to build digital resilience?
Thank you very much, Brian. So when I embarked on this road trip, I actually had a number of objectives. One of them was to reach FIFAfrica. I mean, that was my ultimate objective. But also along the way, I wanted to sensitize the communities, to give them an understanding of what internet freedom is. And if you look at how the bike was branded, it kind of took people's attention, and people had to ask questions like, are you giving out free internet? That alone can tell you that they don't know what it means. So it's up to you to explain to them. And then many of them will realize that, oh, so you mean this as in during elections when they shut down the internet, they are kind of limiting our freedom to use the internet? And that is a yes. So many of them actually got to know what it is and why it is important for us to have internet freedom, not to misuse it, but we have all seen the benefits of having access to internet. I think COVID is a very good case study. So many of them didn't know about that. Then also another objective which I had was to actually provide skills along the way. I mean, traveling all that distance is not a continuous ride. There are different communities where I am actually going to stop. So I was hoping if I get an organization, for example, that needs support. I mean, I have everything with me on the bike. I have all the genuine softwares. I have all the digital security skills. I could just empower their knowledge. And actually, at the beginning of my trip, I did that. I remember in Uganda, one of the towns that I stopped, there was an organization and they had a very serious issue with their computer. And they only had one computer. So, I mean, I just reinstalled for them the Windows and installed for them genuine softwares like Microsoft Office, antivirus. But one of the biggest challenges that I actually faced along the road trip was language barrier. And this is again very important because some of these security tools are designed by like people in Europe, and you find they are not localized, okay? So in a country like Tanzania where I don't understand Kiswahili, and they don't, many of them, I think like 99.9% don't speak English. It became a problem even to recommend the tool to use because, I mean, we can't even communicate. So that gave me an understanding that maybe if we can push more for localizing some of these tools, because trust me, those communities also need to access some of these tools. And then also issues to do with like connectivity. I mean, we don't have some of these communities don't have really good connectivity, electricity. That's, I think, the problem almost everywhere. But that shows that we need to recommend tools that maybe don't need much connectivity. If they can access them offline, it would even be better. And then also, one of the challenges that I faced during the trip was, I mean, all these restrictions, I mean, all these borders of ours, I don't think we had these borders like maybe back in the years of our forefathers. But nowadays you find even travel is a problem. So if I am working on issues to do with digital security, I would really love to travel everywhere that I can and be able to actually offer the knowledge and skills. But if it's even a challenge for me to cross the border from East Africa to Southern Africa, then it's a problem, because we would really love to meet other practitioners in some of these countries, and then we exchange ideas so that we can actually collaborate. And that's one of the things that I actually gained most by being here, because we have started to realize that maybe we can work together. It doesn't have to be me riding all over Africa offering these digital security skills, and yet there are other practitioners within these countries. But maybe we can actually work together and then come up with initiatives that can address some of the challenges we are facing. If there was someone in Tanzania that I knew, maybe we could just work with them, and then they are able to offer support in Tanzania actually. I could really talk all day about the trip, but trust me, on Twitter we are actually having a documentary which will be shared. Every experience is going to be on that, so just watch out for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gole. You mentioned the challenges crossing borders, and that takes me to Access Now. I think you probably one of the borderless support networks that are in Africa. You have a wide I said footprint earlier on. So how is Access Now right now at this forum? How can we leverage your presence, or what opportunities do you see that we can take advantage of to be able to build digital resilience with the communities without the limits of borders?
But I guess with Access Now, we really value, our presence at especially forums like this, where we get to interact and meet a lot with possible partners and possible stakeholders, so we can be able to collaborate on, collaborate and also gain, visibility, as well as have a foothold in areas where we don't have a foothold. Yes, in as much as we are global, we do realize, the need for regional collaboration, as well as, global collaboration. So being here with, initiatives like, Defenders, having Tawanda here, and Gole and Happy, we would, we really gain from those partnerships, because it gives us a coverage of the Southern and East African region that we already have, but it just has a greater impact. And with, with social media as well, and, having a certain online presence, it makes it easier for, the people who can to get in touch with us on our website through email, and, submit their requests, and we are able to meet their requests, because we have partners in those specific regions. We are like, you need someone from South Africa, someone from Zimbabwe, someone from Malawi, someone from Zambia, then we already have those partnerships in place. Therefore, we are bridging those borders, because online it's a borderless existence. But on the ground, we do know that, there are certain regions are different, they have a different, digital literacy capability, and therefore that is why our presence here is very important to us, as well as the people we offer our services to, being activists, human rights, independent media. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe to ask you one more question. What has been your experience in establishing these connections within the different regions? I don't know if, do you have, apart from the collaborative, the partners that you collaborate with, do you have offices in every country in Africa? What has been your experience in doing this?
Our experience, the reception has been great. The need, the collaboration and acceptance has been good. In Africa, we have presence in physical offices in Tunisia, and we also have presence in East Africa. It's not a physical office, but for example, I work from Nairobi. So we have some presence, and over the course of the next few years, we will have better coverage across Southern and Eastern Africa. And through now the partners that we have, they give us that coverage. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe at this point, I would like to take some questions from the audience. If you have any questions for any of the experts we have here. Please feel free to pick a mic.
Thank you very much. My name is John, and my question is directed. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me now. My name is John. My question directed to Tawanda. I think if I got it correctly, you talked about the work that DSA is doing in decapsulating cybersecurity understanding for everyone out there to be able to assimilate and appreciate the work you're doing. Have you ever thought of maybe translating the literature that you share in local languages so that everyone, including people that can't read English, are able to understand that? Thank you.
Thanks, John. I think I can directly answer to that. And the answer is actually yes. But you find that as DSA, we've got also a lack of capacity in terms of the translation itself. That's why you find that we have partnered with organizations like the Localization Lab. I think they're also part of this conference who run the localization like theme around tools, that I think Gole did mention. So you also find that I think since I got the mic now, I really wanted to echo something as well to say there is need for us to be deliberate about our strengths and our weaknesses. For example, we actually know that localization is not our strength. We would not want, to really invest time in that. But localization lab actually does that. Then also there is value in us. I think it was Happy and Doreen. They did mention that there's an issues of infrastructure. Yet we know that we want to be hosting stuff. Why not like collaborate with organizations that can give cheaper like hosting? So at DSA then we then partner with Greenhost, where we know that at least they'll give us a better discounted rate in terms of the hosting of the particular types of organizations that we need. When we need, definitely Gole, I do appreciate that you're moving with the motorcycle, and I will never do that in my life. Just for the record, but we will never come into the region, like east or west of of Africa, because we know that Gole is there and defenders is there. I think us as practitioners as well, we really need to do better. That's actually one of the things that I'm really appreciative of these type of like forums. We should not be parachuting even resources as well. I think Gole said there's an issue about language, and there are countries that have been deliberately left out simply because of language. You find that the Portuguese and the French speaking countries here in Africa, they suffer the most when it comes to digital security, literacy and support, simply because there is no organization that is deliberately investing in those countries. So sometimes as well, John, there is value in investing in individuals within the countries themselves. DSA is focusing right now in Mozambique. It's a Portuguese speaking country. The vision being, once we are out of there, we then use the same resources built there, maybe to go into Angola to also train other people there in their local like languages. So language really can be cross-pollinated, if that's the term, but it takes time and deliberate collaboration between Access Now, Defenders, Digital Society of Africa, Uganda Encrypt. All these organizations should have one database of connections, knowing that we should be calling each other each time we have seen that there is a need in that region. But definitely, Gole, I'll never take a bike around Zimbabwe.
just to add on that, with the digital security helpline, what we've managed to do so far is to have an array of analysts who speak multiple languages. So basically we are able to cover different regions, especially how he says that, French-speaking regions are often left out. We make sure, like on our helpline, which is 24/7, we always have someone either who is French-speaking, Arabic-speaking, German, Swahili. Basically we've covered a lot of the major languages so that we are able to bridge the disconnect, because a lot of the time you find in some of the requests we get, they struggle to speak English. So it is easier when someone on the helpline understands French and is able to communicate in a language that they're comfortable, and also in the reactionary work provide solutions that they can understand and are in their language. Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned languages, and I noticed that you're talking of French and Portuguese, but those are mostly spoken by people that have gone to school or have some level of education. And in our settings, the majority of the youth, right now, we're getting to a point where almost everyone is going to have to access the internet. So what happens to the ones that can't speak English, Portuguese, or French? Most of the local people, I know Gole mentioned Tanzania. He had already talked to me how he had a challenge communicating in Swahili. I know Access now has Doreen, you can speak Swahili. What happens to someone who wants a choli from Uganda, or I don't know what they speak in Zambia, but a Muganda in Uganda who does not know how to speak English but needs to use a tool to communicate or to build their digital resilience. Maybe that goes out to, again, the localization lab, maybe to, apart from the international languages, an opportunity that we can build on is try to see how we can localize for the local context. So the Luyas, the Baganda, the Acholi, and other languages within Africa would be able to use these tools comfortably. Maybe before we, Happy, please go ahead.
Thank you for that question. I think this is just something I was thinking, that the different, especially I'm talking from the perspective of being a Ugandan, there are different ways in which the different tribes or different group of people call certain things like Facebook or YouTube. So there is a specific phrase that they use. So I had, in my mind, I was already starting to think maybe it would be a nice thing to invest in a way that we start getting those phrases the way the people use them in their locality, and then so that when you're going to train them, you're not saying Facebook, but you are actually using the real phrase that they use in that place. Of course, this will bring me back to resource and fund, as my colleague earlier on said, but I think it's something that we can work around and can be able to get a solution. Thank you.
Any questions? There's a question over there.
Thank you, the panel. Thank you for your insights. My name is Mark. I'm with Defend Defenders, and I have two questions. For one, I know that digital security trainers do not earn as good as lawyers. What strategy do you guys have to keep new trainers or digital security trainers in this ecosystem? Because I know many who have been there, got bored and left. which kind of reduces the speed at which we want people to learn about digital security. The other thing, how do you measure the success of a digital security training in terms of either TOTs or implementation within an organization or as an individual, putting into practice what they have learned? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I don't know. Tawanda wants to take that, try answer your question.
Thanks, Mark. I think you are reading my notes, but it's okay. So you find that, yes, there is an issue about retaining a resource as a trainer, and digital security obviously is an issue that we know that it has got ups and downs. The strategy that we have employed at DSA is simple. We are all consultants within DSA. So take it like we only meet or we only group when we've got the resources and we are actually implementing like a particular like strategy or project, okay? Simply because each member of our team, full-time or part-time, we all got other lives that we are actually pushing. So the burden of actually retaining it in terms of financial gain is actually not within the DSA like mandate, but we are simply making sure that we are able to be paying you and retaining you based on the level of effort of a certain like project at a particular time. So I think that is a beauty in terms of the strategy. I know it is really not the norm, but it has worked for us, and it is still working for us as we are growing the numbers of the network. Take note also that I think we've been blessed that the people that are joining the team understand the vision and are not really driven by the finances but by the goal. So that is one critical thing. Then on the second question in terms of the analysis and where we can be checking the due diligence of a trainer, DSA goes with you all the way. You know, I'm happy that like in this like room right now, we've got some of our TOT like participants who are here, who we trained in Zambia. It simply means that they're also part of this group trying to understand how this dynamic works. So it's now like a relationship that we're building, and when we have trainings with them, we're mentoring them. It's a long process. It is not a 1 day or a month or 6 months thing. It's a year's like a type of investment. And unfortunately, we also do cut people down as well. We need to release people who we feel that are not aligning to the vision of DSA, which is usually hard, but ultimately we're trying to make sure that the foundation of the people that are going to be sending out, they've got the DNA of DSA, they understand the relationship that DSA has with other partners like yourself, Mark, in Defenders, and they can easily get into Defenders and work with you just like you are working with Tawanda. So I think for us it's a long-term process, and we are with them all the time up until the time when we then say we are graduating. Just, you know, since I'm here, we are hopeful that in January we're going to have like a graduation, you know, of all the trainers that we've trained in 6 countries in Southern Africa. And that is already the starting point of our evaluation. You have graduated, now we handhold you through the whole processes of audits, trainings, more trainings and more trainings, until we then let you go to say, okay, you're now a free bird, you can do whatever you can under the flagship of DSA. I hope that I've answered your question, and happy that someone else can speak.
So just in regards to that, the services we do offer at the helpline are free of charge. We do not, you know, charge anything for the services. However, when we cannot offer, you know, a particular service, we do refer to our partners. And some of the people who have certain requests cannot afford, to pay our partners. Therefore, we do have a partner fund where we can contribute to all or some of the costs in that regard. And in terms of measuring the success, when we provide the services ourselves, we do reach out, we do have follow-ups to see how successful have they been in implementing. And where they struggle, we come in again and try to either better their understanding or better their implementation. And when we refer our requests to partners, we do follow up both the partners, how is it going on through the entire process of whether it's something they're implementing or a service they're giving. So we do follow up with both, the client who requested, the beneficiary, as well as the partner to see, how their collaboration is going. Because sometimes we do have a challenge where, we tell our partner that, help this beneficiary, but the beneficiary goes silent. So on that part, we have to reach out and ask, is everything okay? What are the challenges you're facing? And, how can we come in and help? Yeah.
Thank you, Doreen. Maybe I will, there's a question right here. As the mic gets here, I'll try and re-echo what Tawanda had said earlier about the mantra where you're trying to get everyone to be a digital security trainer. So in the DSA in Uganda, the Digital Security Alliance, which CIPESA is a part of, it's usually a voluntary, what we, Mark, you're asking about payment and salaries, or how we're trying to make sure that we keep digital security trainers within. So that the Digital Security Alliance is a voluntary mechanism where we have ICT or officers from different organizations such as Defenders. Hello. So thanks, sorry about that. So I was saying, in Uganda, we have the Digital Security Alliance, that is a voluntary mechanism that is comprised of organizations, ICT officers from different organizations, such as Defenders Protection Initiative, CIPESA, Encrypt Uganda, DigiSec Initiative. So the organizations we hope cater for the digital security trainers remuneration, but then also make them available for this collaborative effort to be able to provide support to the community that cannot afford an ICT expert. And so that way we are able to make sure that we continue to keep digital security officers around to be able to provide support as needed. Your second question was, what is it? How do you evaluate success? So we like to follow a mentorship approach, where what we do is follow whoever has sought digital security support by mentoring them from the beginning to the end, like an accompaniment approach. So we make sure that someone fully understands and adopts whatever we're trying to, whatever capacity we're trying to build or to teach them. So that way, at the end of the support, we are confident that the beneficiary is comfortable going along without any other support. Yes, later on we'll follow up, but we've discovered that an accompaniment approach is a much better approach to be able to guarantee success of our efforts. I know we have to wrap this up, so maybe one more question.
Thank you. I would like to thank you for giving us a very good informative presentation. But not so much of a question. I would like to ask Gole, Andrew. I'm actually one of the people that received you when you came. Was it Monday or Tuesday? When you arrived from Kampala?
I think it's
when did you arrive? Was that a Monday or Monday. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I'm one of the people that received you or welcomed you, and I was so amazed, you know. But then I would like to find out, like, where do you draw your passion for the work that you do? You know, it's so amazing for someone to ride like over 3,000 kilometers. And lastly, how are you going to go back to Kampala? Thank you.
Thank you very much for those beautiful questions. The first one, actually, to be honest, all this started during COVID. Like before COVID, I wasn't a biker. Like I didn't even have a bike, you see. Because while doing digital security, like we used to organize trainings. So you go in a venue and everyone is there. You train them 2 or 3 days and people depart. But when COVID came, it was hard to do that. And you find the people you train always rely on you. Like they see you as the epitome of knowledge, and yet you are even not. So each and everything they ask you, I mean, what is Zoom? Like, how do I install Zoom? Like how do I do this? Like, even the basic thing that to you is obvious. You understand? And you want to explain it to them over the phone, and you really can't. Like, you try your level best, and you're like, I wish I was there. So I just started a thing. I was like, okay, I could get a bike and just plot these organizations and travel. So I actually developed love for travel. You understand? So I only fused it together with my digital security work because we empower these communities. So I was like, maybe I could just go to these people. I am touring places. It's like fun. I am not being forced to do this. You understand? It's something, all I need is shake the tank and calculate how far it can take me. I don't even have to check my pocket. It's the tank first. You understand? So it just developed into something that I got good at. But trust me, before COVID, I didn't even know about some of these bikes. You understand? And now for me, it's very strong that I can literally do anything because everything is possible. Eliud Kipchoge says, no human is limited. You understand? It's just the mindset. Then trust me, I am going to go back on that bike. Like, that's only when the trip is complete. This is half of the trip. So I can't abandon it now. Like, I would see it as a failure. So I know I am going to get on my bike and go back home. So, that's it. Like, and I know it's going to happen. Thank you so much.
Goli, just one more question. Are you going to use the same routes you came through?
Yeah, actually, and the interesting part is, remember, like, my love for traveling and touring new places. I can't go back with the route I came with. I mean, it's the easy thing because I know all the roads now. I'm taking a different route. Like, I have to explore this continent. The beauty, many of us have never seen it. Like, many of us here came via the plane. We didn't see much. Trust me, if you go on the ground, it's worth it. Like, it's so beautiful. You just want to get on the road each and every time. Yeah, thank you.
So, Gole, are you saying that next FIFA Africa, instead of buying tickets for guys, they should buy bikes for them? As we conclude this, maybe I'll let each one of us just share an opportunity that we can take advantage of from the experiences that during the conference, the experiences from our work. What opportunities can we take advantage of that will help us achieve equitable access to these digital security tools, solutions that are available that many people do not know about? I'll start again with Gole, and we can work our way back down.
Thank you very much, Brian. One of the things that I've actually learned during this FIFA Africa is collaboration. I noticed there are so many of us across Africa who actually do this sort of work back at home, but we can actually collaborate and work together so that we can expand digital rights and digital security across Africa. This is not a one-man show. Like, each of us have something to offer. Only if we work together can we then bring together resources and then be able to actually do this amazing work. Thank you.
It's not any different from me. I feel like coming on a platform like this, there is a lot of networking happening, and even just in so coming here, already got connected to a lot of people, and the opportunities I just got when I arrived here, and so it was worth coming, and I believe that there are still more connections that I'm going to make even after here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I just want, this is an open invitation to the individuals that maybe are from Zimbabwe, Malawi, South Africa, Eswatini, Mozambique, and South Africa. If you'd want to have a conversation about your security and the planning of your training within those countries, please do approach myself. The CEO of TSA is also here. Natasha, the associate, is also here, Chipo. We are here. Please discuss with us. We are more than happy to plan a training, both online or offline. We will make a plan because we've got the resources that we are also trying to get out there and get more experience in terms of the training. Thank you.
While I've been here, I've got to interact with, a lot of organizations that in part may do, can you hear me? While I've been here, I've gotten to interact with a lot of organizations that may do the same thing that we do, but have coverage in a different region that we don't have. So I have seen the importance of, collaboration as much. At Access Now, we do champion a lot of collaboration, and I'd invite you to check out our website. You'll find a lot of information. If you need any technical assistance from the Digital Security Helpline, it's help at Access Now. If you'd like to, have a conversation, learn more about it, you can reach me at Doreen at Access Now. And yeah, basically visit our website, see what we do. We have ongoing advocacy policy campaigns that are very relevant to a lot of organizations here. So we welcome and champion any collaboration you might have in mind.
Thank you, Doreen, Tawanda, Happy, and Gole. For me, I think the opportunities that we need to take advantage of is the people that are here. We are people from different walks of life, different languages, different experiences, different intellects. So I think that with collaboration, we're able to achieve a lot more and be able to spread this word, this digital security gospel, a lot much easier. I know there are so many tools that are being showcased or shared, but the challenge is that we keep on sharing with the same faces, same people. I hope that when we go back home after this conference, we'll still continue to preach this gospel and hope that we'll get our communities involved in to be able to adopt safer digital resilience solutions. The Digital Security Hub is still available online or in person. I don't know if you'll find anyone at the desk outside by the terrace, but feel free to reach out to any one of us in the corridors or wherever you find us, and we'll be able to support you to get you to a better digital security or digital resilient state. Thank you again for listening in. I've been Brian Biaruhanga from CIPESA.
Gole, 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 gole.